We're acting as an advisor for you. So we're putting together a custom portfolio for you. We want to build according to whatever your value set is. So when you go onto the platform, you select one of 3 of 8 impact areas, and then we build a custom portfolio that's actually composed of individual companies.
Of how many stocks would a typical portfolio be composed of?
When we put together these impact areas, we look at companies and put together the top 25 names according to each impact area. And then when you put together your portfolio is composed of the 3 top.
And why don't you go through some of those impact areas which we're showing on the wall over there? The impact areas include gender equality, climate action, better health, clean water. What are some of the others? I can't remember. Reducing waste, quality work, modern cities, shared prosperity.
When we look at our impact areas, we want them to be aligned as closely as they can to what the UN has stated as their global goals, the Sustainable Development Goals. We look at that for inspiration for us when we create our impact areas, and that's really the basis for the 8 that we're starting with today.
When you back-tested this, how was the performance compared to the S&P 500 of any of these baskets, any combination of these baskets?
When we look at the companies, it is actually the top 500 companies. So we're trying to track as closely as we can to that.
And has it tracked have you back-tested these baskets to actually see what the performance has been over time?
Yep, so we have a team that actually looks closely at the financials as well as the values of each of the stocks.
It's a very low minimum, $50, am I right?
$50.
Okay, and a 0.75 annual fee, 0.73% annual. But at $50, how do I build a portfolio? I mean, I can't buy 1 share of Apple for $50.
Yep, so we do fractional share trading, and that's part of the platform that we've built, the technology that went into building Coin. It's what's taken us the time to make sure that you can, with $50, get invested in a number of companies.
How do I know that this works, though? I guess that was my question. Have you actually taken a look at the performance of these indices over the past 5 years or 10 years, whatever time frame, and seen that they have actually performed, that you're not going to be losing money by consciously investing?
And that's a big question that we get is, will there be any trade-off? And we believe that companies who think about values, about the material impact that they're having, actually will do better in the long term.
So how do you monitor all of this? This is one of my questions when it comes to socially conscious investing. It's that companies are fluid institutions that are changing all the time. So if my basket said I want one that's good on gender equality, and right now that has Marriott, TJX, and Cisco, what happens next year if something changed at those companies and they fall off? How do I know you guys are being diligent enough so that I never have to worry there's something in my portfolio that doesn't share my values, especially if my values might include gender equality and clean water and quality work, for example?
I mean, in the past, most people have had access to a financial advisor who looks very carefully at every stock selection, and the access to that is limited for people. What we're looking to do is bring that to everyone, that everyone has access to the level of customization when they make selections, and that the rigor.
But is this for just making the selection? So my point is, like, if I get you guys say, we went through and we screened these names. Okay, Kelly, go ahead and pick them. Okay, great. As the world exists in 2019, this looks pretty good. Do you update this annually, or how often do you kind of go back through the metrics so I make sure, I don't end up in a company who has a big area of disagreement?
Well, we look quarterly at the companies to make sure that they're continually aligned, and then we regularly track if there's any controversial issues.
So in these different baskets, gender equity, climate action, better health, and so forth, how many stocks would be in the gender equity portfolio? And do all people who check the box gender equity get the same portfolio?
So we looked across the 500 top companies, large cap companies in the U.S. We looked through each of them on each impact area, and then the top 25 names for each is what goes into the portfolio.